Hi everyone, and welcome back to A View On, Lonza's podcast on the latest trends in pharma manufacturing. In today's episode, we'll take a closer look at how AI, digitalization, and advanced data-driven tools are transforming pharmaceutical manufacturing from early development through to commercial delivery, with a focus on how these technologies impact the production of small molecules and bioconjugates. We'll look at this from two different perspectives. First, the innovation lens, so how AI is already moving beyond hype to deliver real-world impact. Then we'll shift to the business lens, discussing how these innovations translate into strategy and customer value within Lonza's advanced synthesis platform.
We haven't so much started with AI, but actually from the problems we're trying to resolve.
You'll hear more about this over the next 20 minutes of A View On, a podcast brought to you by Lonza. AI and machine learning algorithms have moved far beyond emerging concepts and already deliver value in the pharmaceutical industry today. To explore where this impact is happening, we are first joined by François Ricard, Head of R&D for Lonza's advanced synthesis platform. So François, AI and digitalization are everywhere right now. But in our world of pharma manufacturing, its adoption needs to be deliberate. So from your perspective, what are the most important trends emerging today?
So I think there's a clear trend with the rapid rise of AI, artificial intelligence, and modeling platforms. So I think we're well positioned here to push for this. I think another area for us is the use of more complex processes and more complex chemistry, like conjugation, bioconjugation for us, but also for things like drug delivery, where with both the conjugation technologies, our bioenhancement offering, we have a lot of interest from our customers.
What I personally find fascinating is that while the global market continues to talk about AI's potential impact on processes, Lonza is already delivering results using these approaches. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, I think so. The approach we've taken is a bit different in the sense that we haven't so much started with AI, but actually from the problems we're trying to resolve. So I think some of the challenges we're very interested in is how do we accelerate development for customers? And then we're looking for how we can best use AI in this context. And I think that then drives a very different approach. So we're actually building the tools that enable us to achieve our main objective, which is speed in development. And that's, I think, where we've been more targeted in maybe not getting so much drowned in the LLM or broader discussions, but actually building specific tools that help us resolve issues.
And how is this targeted use of AI being perceived by the market?
I think it's actually we're getting very good traction, but a lot of interest actually in that ability to translate, if you're on the hype, into tangible outcome. And I think we're getting a lot of interest in understanding how AI can really bring value. And I think we are at the forefront there in doing that translation to practice. And we're actually expanding this even further now in a number of areas from analytical development, formulation development, I would say even the overall data flow from the RFP from customers to the batch delivered. I think we've taken a nice approach, which is to have a hybrid human in the loop approach, right? So we're not putting all our eggs in the AI basket, we're also combining this with SME expertise to filter the outcome, etc.
Yeah, that sounds like a really important shift. Is it happening across any other areas too?
This year, we've also expanded it further with the co-crystal screening prediction. So we're able now to really rapidly guide from an AI tool as well what are likely co-crystal formers for bioenhancement out of our Bend site. And here again, we've developed a very powerful tool that can really restrict, I would say, the set of experimentation with a 90% chance of success now. The tool as it is now can really predict the likely solid states of those compounds. And I think it's a classical complex problem. And I think now, as we're seeing with this type of AI tools, we can shape at it in a much more systematic way. And I think it's very promising for the future.
Yep, it seems like you are targeting areas that are sometimes overlooked in drug development discussions.
Yeah, I agree. I think especially the process development part, the CMC part, is often been a bit underrated. And it's still a very empirical science. I think it has been until now, right? Whether you should talk about chemistry, you talk about elegant chemistry, chemists will have a certain perspective on this.
Yeah, it's all gonna look good on paper, right?
Yeah, that's it. But I think now you're starting to see this really big push where AI can actually have a bigger impact in this space. And in the coming years, we'll see a big shift in the way we do process development. I think a lot more informed science a lot more expert systems that help us get to the best solution.
And your team is already building toward that future.
A big part of the team is really focusing on data science and modeling to build this set of tools that we want to build in the toolbox. And then a good chunk of the team for chemistry, bioconjugation, bioenhancement is really focused as well on process technologies, process development approaches to make sure we provide robust, high throughput, lower cost solutions to our customers.
François, how can this AI-driven or AI-optimized process development be applied to antibody-drug conjugates, where the complexity of the molecule itself is significantly bigger?
Correct, yes. So I think we've looked at that in two ways, or we're looking at this in two areas. So one of them is from a drug discovery approach, which allows us to develop conjugates which have much higher, retention of the payload, more very efficient delivery. And what we're looking at now is how can we enhance the performance of the platform with more predictive tools? So how can we really predict conjugation efficiencies, likely cleavage or not, etc., likely process efficiencies in terms of conjugation conditions moving forward. And then the second area is actually more of a CMC process development approach. So here going back around process optimization, process conditions, possible formulations as well. How can we predict faster the best conditions for conjugation process?
So when we talk about the future, it's impossible to ignore quantum computing. This has also recently been highlighted by the 2025 Nobel Prize in Physics. Do you see that as another inflection point for pharma manufacturing?
So I think one of the big areas for us that's of interest in that space, right, is it's really looking at detailed molecular interactions. And I think that's what quantum computing will give us, right? It's really, this molecule to molecule, molecule to polymer, protein to target interactions at a level that's been very hard to model dynamically in the past.
Oh no, it's been impossible.
It's been impossible, exactly. And I think now the challenge is more on how do you structure those problems to be fed to quantum computing. But I think once we go through that, it's going to be pretty, mind-boggling. I think in terms of the scope of applicability is huge, right? Because you go to a level of scrutiny that's at the molecular level, basically. That's predictable, that's probably quantifiable when we haven't really been able to do this so far.
In your view, will we start designing new molecules or will we redesign existing, so already approved medications to optimize them? What's the wiser choice here?
I think the shorter term greatest impact we'll see is probably in discovery, and I guess we already see it happening now. And we see it already in the evolution of the pipelines.
Oh, that sounds like a very exciting and very busy future.
For us, it's a very interesting time, especially I would say in the combination of the convergence of a number of technologies, right? Whether it's biology, AI, automation, novel chemistry. I think so. At least from an R&D perspective, it's as exciting as it gets these days in terms of combining all of this into really new solutions. I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's a great time actually to be in this space.
So far, we've heard how AI and digitalization are reshaping pharmaceutical manufacturing, not just as abstract technologies, but as practical tools designed to accelerate development, improve decision-making, and tackle long-standing challenges in process development. François highlighted how Lonza's approach focuses on solving real customer problems, combining AI with deep scientific expertise rather than replacing it. In the next section, we'll zoom further out and look at how these innovations translate into business strategy and customer delivery. Tune in next to hear from Christian Seufert, Head of Advanced Synthesis, and Jan Vertommen, Vice President of Commercial Development of Advanced Synthesis. Christian, looking at the broader landscape, what are the key trends shaping advanced synthesis today?
A lot of trends that have been forming and shaping over the last, I would say, 10 years. Disrupted supply chains, certainly one trend which will force us to find solutions to provide high reliability services to our clients in different regions. There's certainly the trend for sustainability. Lonza has made a commitment to science-based targets in 2024 with an objective to reduce our carbon footprint by 42% until 2030 and be net zero by 2050. That will certainly lead us to not only optimize our operations at our existing sites, but also shape our innovation portfolio accordingly and focus on sustainability as a key driver.
How do these trends translate into innovation that customers actually experience?
In our conversations with clients, we take these and other trends into consideration and try to translate this into meaningful innovation ideas that really make a difference for our clients. Whether it is the route scouting or the high throughput experimentation or the design to optimize offering that we have, all designed to help customers take time out of the development process and have a faster time to market.
Jan, many of Lonza's customers are early stage biotechs where speed is critical. How do digital tools support them from day one?
Indeed, Martina, most of our new customers are these biotechs, representing more than 90% of our new customers. And indeed, speed is of the essence. And the customers are looking at how we can help them to get quickly to, I would say, the right route for synthesizing their new molecule they have in mind. In that respect, first of all, our AI-based tools come into play, especially the AI-based route scouting, where we will make them optimal routes with a minimum of steps, but also taking into account the supply chain data so that they don't hit a hurdle with a raw material that is very hard to find, and then they get blocked later on, or something that will be super expensive. Maybe it's okay for a few milligrams, but that will block later on when they go for the clinical manufacturing of their new molecule.
If we are applying AI, machine learning, digital twins in designing a molecule, does it differ if we are working on a highly potent compound?
Of course, highly potent compounds require the right containment conditions. And especially if you're talking about these payload linkers for the antibody drug conjugates, which is a booming part in our business, that needs particular containment. They call it class 5 or above. And thanks to the extensive knowledge, we are involved in more than half of the commercial ADC products. We have built this knowledge that we can apply for commercial products, but also for the early phase to ensure fully safe operations, and then making sure this can be scaled from the milligrams in the lab up to the kilograms for commercial manufacturing.
When customers consider the future, which includes new technologies and modalities, what message do you see emerging?
It's not that one modality will fully exclude the other modalities. Different options to really have the right answer for a certain target is the way forward. And we see more and more companies taking just the best modality. There is no small molecule company anymore or biologics company. Every company will look what is the best modality to provide an answer for the target.
And that brings us to the end of today's episode of A View On. We've heard how AI and digitalization trends are transforming pharmaceutical manufacturing and shaping how CDMOs like Lonza support drug developers from early development through to commercial delivery. Thank you to François, Christian, and Jan for sharing their insights, and thank you for listening. Join us next time as we close our 4th season and gear up towards our 5th season starting this summer. If you cannot wait, head over to lonza.com/a-view-on to listen to our previous episode, subscribe to never miss an episode, and access additional materials and interviewee info. Bye for now.